recently saw a video about a site called seemyrot.com. Supposedly on the site, you would see a real corpse rotting in the grave in real time. It was all fake. It might have been some ploy to make money through ads, but that video did remind me of something. Rotted Riley. Rotted Riley was a YouTube channel from around 2014 that basically did the same thing seemyrot.com was supposed to do. Show you a corpse rotting in real time. I forgot where I heard about it. Possibly a friend. All I know is that the premise sounded cool to an edgy teen, which I was at the time. The channel had tons of videos that were hours long, all showing a woman in a coffin. In the earliest upload, you could see the woman pretty clearly. She was in her 20s, blonde hair, wearing a necklace with an R on it, and had her eyes closed. Just by scrolling through the thumbnails, you could see her decomposing over the course of many videos. I followed the channel for a few weeks. Sometimes I'd hop on a live stream. There'd usually be 1 or 2 people in chat. I think the most I saw was 5. Chat usually had a couple of messages from people, but what I remembered was the pinned message made by the channel that appeared in every stream. Don't wake up Riley. She's sleeping. Creepy, sure, but what do you expect from a channel live streaming a decomposing corpse? I just figured it was part of the vibe. I usually had the live stream on in the background while I was doing my edgy teen artwork. The channel just inspired the sort of morbid shit I drew as a teen. Plus, weirdly enough, it felt like I had company while I was drawing. Sure, that company was a decomposing corpse, but it's not like I was the kind of person with better options at the time. I'd sometimes take a look at the stream every so often, completely unfazed by the rotting, bug-eaten corpse. One day, while I was drawing with the stream in the background, I heard a thump from the video. That was weird, since the live stream didn't have any sound. What would you hear from a corpse? I checked the video. Riley was still in the same position she'd been in this entire time. She was still lying down with her eyes closed. Her skin was still gray and being chewed through by bugs. The normal shit for Riley. I was about to shrug it off when something changed. Her eyes opened. She started turning her head side to side, the skin on her neck ripping like paper. She thrashed about and let out the most harrowing scream I'd ever heard. Chat was exploding, with people losing their minds. The comment I remember most, though, was from the Rotted Riley channel. Someone woke her up. I liked creepy stuff, but this entire thing freaked me the hell out. I exited the live stream and tried watching something else to take my mind off of whatever the hell I just saw. The next day, I worked up the nerve to try going to the channel again, only to see that it had been taken down. There wasn't a trace of this channel left on YouTube. Over time, I ended up forgetting about the channel. I think part of it was just me trying to repress what I saw. But then I saw that video on seemyrot.com, and this entire thing exploded back into my head. After remembering all of this, I decided to try and look back into it. I couldn't find any archives of the videos or images from the stream. I found vague mentions here and there, but nothing concrete. Most everyone figured this was a hoax or a creepypasta. I was about to dismiss this as some weird false memory or Mandela effect thing when I came across something. A missing person report. The missing person was a woman who disappeared around 2014. She was in her mid-20s, had blonde hair, and wore a necklace with an R on it. Her name was Riley Ashcroft, and she is still missing to this day. I was watching TV when I heard the clang and clatter of the letterbox. I frowned to myself, looked up at the clock, and frowned again. It was far too late for any sort of mail. I frowned again as I approached the front door, glaring at the pile of mail that lay haphazardly on my welcome mat. I picked it all up and realized that it wasn't mail at all, but they were photos. There were 6 pictures altogether, and all of the same room, a bathroom. I quickly unlocked and opened the door to stick my head out, and I scanned up and down the road. The street was perfectly quiet. Nothing or nobody. Just a few leaves blowing in the wind. I closed the door and flipped through the photos. At first glance, they all looked like the same photo. Just a bathtub with some shampoo bottles and other products scattered around, and all taken from the same perspective. I nearly ripped them up until I noticed some red marks on the side of the bathtub in one of them. It didn't take long for me to realize that the red marks were actually blood. I flipped to the next photo and saw the blood spots again. I flipped to the next photo, and the next, and the next. It must have been staring at these photographs that brought it to my attention. But suddenly, I desperately needed the toilet. I ran upstairs and into the bathroom without a second thought, and I closed my eyes as I relieved myself. Suddenly, I heard the handle to my front door depress. The sound of the wind grew louder, confirming my heart-pounding suspicion. I forgot to lock the door. The wind ceased as I heard the door close again. I sat on the toilet holding my breath, my body frozen with fear. I heard the creak of the floorboards on the second stair, the creak I'd heard so many times before, and one I'd grown to hate. I held in my vomit as I waited for the inevitable second creak that came from standing on the last stair at the very top. I remained frozen, silently praying that this wasn't real, that this was all just a nightmare. I sat on the toilet with my legs shaking, my heart thumping, and my lungs aching. I could see their shadow moving through the gap at the bottom of the door. I held my breath. A piece of paper was then slid beneath the door, gliding towards me and stopping at my feet. Inside was a rusty razor blade. The paper read, "It's your choice how it ends. You use it, or I come in there after you. You have 1 minute." My brain raced with a million thoughts, a million questions, and for some unknown reason, I looked down at the pictures that were still in my hand. In each and every picture, on the side of each bathtub, there was a rusty razor blade. I gulped. Nobody wants to go near me anymore. People used to like me. They'd sit next to me on a park bench. They'd smile when they saw me. They were completely comfortable bringing their girlfriends and kids around me. Not anymore. Not since that awful murder. Now they cross the street to avoid me. And if they do look at me, it's only with a look of disgust. I wish I could tell them all how sorry I was. Sure, nobody blames me. It's not my fault. They know it wasn't my fault. But now, they can't stand to even glance my way. I'm so lonely. God, what I wouldn't give to have someone sit down for lunch with me. I took the little things like that for granted for so long. I had to watch him die. They hanged him and left before he was even dead. I was the one that saw the life leave his eyes, saw the pain and desperation on his face, and I couldn't do a thing to help him. Those terrified eyes will haunt me for the rest of my life. I wanted nothing more than to reach out and save him, point the police to the murderers, and see those awful men put in jail for the rest of their lives. But I couldn't. I'll never be able to. I can't control where my branches bend, and my leaves can only rustle and whisper in the wind.